that there is a poverty gap ratio. But again, the question put, the poverty gap ratio only measures, right? The poverty gap ratio only measures that how much a country, the poor are falling short, right, of the average income, right? The income which has been set as the threshold, how much the poorer are means getting short of that income. But again, the question put forward that who is the most poorest, it cannot be answered by that ratio, right? It can be answered by this, right? Please write. Next point. The shortfalls. Now, please understand, people, these concepts very well. ये समझेंगे, then only you'll be able to understand, right? The inequality, because the next part is inequality. ये नहीं समझ पाएंगे, you'll not be able to understand inequality, and then you'll not able to understand the the Gini coefficient and all those, right? So a lot of things are coming in the way. So please understand these things very well. So please write. The shortfall of BPL people, the shortfall of BPL people are squared, giving the very poor, much more weightage, giving the very poor much more weightage than those falling only a few cents, those falling only a few cents, CNTS, cents, short of poverty line, short of poverty line. It means definitely, people, right here, the poor are given, right, more weightage. The very poor, the severely poor are given more weightage as compared to the other, right? So I told that this is the index which can measure that who is, right, most poor. Now, please write. Please write. The squared poverty gap index. Next point. The squared poverty gap index is much more beneficial to the very poor, is much more beneficial to the very poor who are further away, from the poverty line, because they will receive more amount of aid, from the government, more amount of aid from the government. Now, people, highlight the last point. It is very important. It is very important. Now, have you heard about some of the schemes, right, which gives poor more, right, more grains or more benefit as compared to others, right? Have you heard about the, right, Antodaya scheme of Government of India? Right. Now, definitely.
Yes, sir. Antodaya Anna Yojana.
Yes. So, these schemes, the government is providing, right, the grains at a very subsidized rate of rupees 3, rice and wheat at the cost of rupees 3, 2 and rupees 3 per kg, only to a specific number of people. Right now, why? Because it has been observed that these people are the poorest of the poor. Remember, and how this have been arrived? This have been arrived by this concept of the squared poverty gap index. Right? Next, give the heading. Multidimensional poverty index. Multidimensional poverty index. Now somebody, what is multidimensional poverty index? Yes, Nuri? Multidimensional poverty index. What it can be. Yesterday we have got a glimpse of this concept. Somebody? Anyways, yesterday, yes, Kamran, go on.
सर इस एरिया में सर क्योंकि खाली फूड के एरिया में नहीं, कोई और भी एरिया में अगर आकर के आपका पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स है तो उसको भी हम मल्टी डायमेंशनल बोल सकते हैं।
स्पीक बीट लाउडर। तबीयत खराब है आपकी?
यस सर।
ओके, वो देख कर लग रहा है, थोड़ा सा एफर्ट लगाएं। लेट एवरीबॉडी
सर
हियर।
बोल रहे कि जब खाली फूड के एरिया में नहीं, कोई और भी एरिया में जैसे कि पॉवर्टी है, जैसे कि हम अच्छा
वेरी
क्लॉथिंग
गुड।
नहीं ले पा रहे,
Yes,
तो उसको
yes,
हम
yes,
मल्टी।
yes, correctly said. Somebody else? Anyways, yesterday we discussed that poverty means not only food, clothing, right, or shelter. Poverty सिर्फ यही three नहीं है. Although these are three are the basic need, poverty also means if somebody is not getting education, वो भी poverty है. If somebody is not getting a clean drinking water, that one is also poverty, right? Say somebody is not getting slippers or shoes to wear, it is also a form of poverty, right? Somebody don't have any mode of transportation, bicycle bhi nahi hai, then also it is poverty. It means the dimensions of the poverty is not limited only to the fooding, clothing or shelter. Rather, right, it is a multidimensional. Okay, it means other factors are also involved, right? Other factors are also involved. Now, it means much more dimensions are involved, not only food, clothing or sheltering. Hence, this concept is known as multidimensional poverty index. Please write. Now, people, don't you think it is a broader concept than all other forms? Because all other forms जो अभी तक हमने पढ़ा है, right? Those they are measuring the poverty based on only three parameters: fooding, clothing, sharing, and all these, right? This is a much broader concept. Please write. It is a broader concept. It is a broader concept which says that, or which states that, it is a broader concept which states that poverty does not only depend upon the income. Poverty does not only depend upon the income, but also includes deprivation such as, but also include deprivation, DEPRI, right? VATION, deprivation. Now deprivation means lack. Deprivation such as poor health, comma, lack of education, poor health, comma, lack of education, and inadequate standard of living, an inadequate standard of living. Now please highlight from poverty does not depend till inadequate standard of living. Now see people, other dimensions have been included here like poor health, lack of education and inadequate standard of living. All these have come. Hence, now the poverty have become multidimensional, isn't it? Since we are considering more dimension, that is, when it's not only fooding, clothing and all, we are considering more dimensions here, right? So it is a multidimensional, right, concept. Change the line. These, next point, these deprivations, Noori, Pragati Kumari, Preeti Kumari, Sajda, Praveen, Rahul, Rohit, right? Please switch on your videos. Please, right? These deprivations are measured on household as well as individual level. Please highlight household as well as individual level. It means multidimensional poverty index is for both. Now please write next point. MPI, I'm putting short for multidimensional poverty index. MPI measures acute poverty based on overlapping deprivations, right? Now please highlight acute poverty. Remember, World Bank का भी concept है. There is a concept of World Bank also to measure poverty, but that one is covering only one dimension, income. Remember yesterday we have talked that income of $1.90 less than per day is considered as a poor. Right now MPI covers more dimensions. So MPI measures acute poverty based on overlapping deprivation. Put a dash instead of World Bank's measure of extreme poverty that captures those living on less than $1.90 a day. Right? It means it is right. Please highlight acute poverty. MPI measures acute poverty. Right now, people, let me put an example of poverty much more clearly. Right? Say a parent is there who is unable, right, whose children is studying in the school, but who is unable to buy books for his child or dress for his child. Now again he is poor, right? Now if only education was a parameter, बच्चा तो पढ़ ही रहा था school में, isn't it? But since he is unable to afford the books and the dresses, now again he comes to the poverty, right? And this can very well be understood by MPI, multidimensional poverty index, right? Okay, next please, right? This MPI concept was developed by UNDP and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Index. It means it is a joint venture of UNDP, United Nations Development Program, and Oxford, right? Human Development Index, and was first introduced in 2010. 2010. Now, very important people in UPSC, you can get a question that MPI is a concept introduced by UNDP. Second statement, MPI was introduced in the year 2015. Which of the following statement is correct? One only, two only, both none. Now, this type of question are very common in UPSC. Right, hence, right, point to note, it is not only developed by UNDP, it is a joint collaboration of UNDP and Oxford Human Development, right, Oxford Poverty and Human Development Index, and introduced in 2010. Now, more question in preliminary can come from here that, okay, it measures deprivation at household level, right? They can give two statements. It can, MPI measures poverty or deprivation at household level. MPI measures poverty or deprivation at individual level. Now, which of the following statement is correct? One only, two only, both none. Now, the both are correct, right? So be very clear. Okay, so इस तरह का question के trap में, that's why I'm putting these information. Right, now next point please write. MPI replaced the concept of human poverty index change the line and put a star. Instead of income, put a dash. MPI uses three dimensions. MPI uses three dimensions. Highlight three dimension. Put a dash, having 10 indicators. To measure absolute poverty. Having 10 indicators to measure absolute poverty. Now people on your screen, MPI, see the three dimensions: living standard, education, health. Now these are the three dimensions, and then there are 10 indicators. 10 indicators भी हैं, right, MPI के साथ. Okay, now, so what are the indicators? Let us see. Right, so three dimension: living standard, education and health, and 10 indicators. Now see, nutrition, child mortality, years of schooling, school attendance. Right, in health we have two indicators: the child mortality and the nutrition. In education we have two indicators, right? School attendance and the year of schooling. Now this is very important, people. More years of schooling means more education a person have gained. Less year of schooling means less education, less educated the person is. It means chances of getting a good job, right, or a respectable job is difficult if the years of schooling is less. Now school attendance, if the school attendance is more, it means definitely the student have learned more, थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा जानते हैं as compared to those who have less school attendance. then there is living standard, people, right? Living standard, right? Okay, 6 indicators: fuel, how much fuel is being used; sanitation, whether the household have, right, uh, sanitation or not, whether they have toilet latrines or not, right? Water, whether they get, right, water to drink or not, a good water, right? Electricity, whether they use electricity or they don't use electricity, right? Housing, whether they house, and some assets. Now, what is the criteria here? Please see, right? The criteria is that the first two, health and education, they have been given more weightage. It is 1/6 each. Now these 4 indicator is 1/6 each. Nutrition, child mortality, year of schooling, and right, school attendance. And these 6 indicator, they have less weightage, 118 each. Right. So this is how MPI is calculated. Now, please draw this diagram in your notebooks, because we will be reading some reports also. So 3 dimension and 10 indicators make up MPI. Now, obviously, this MPI is different from that World Bank concept, which was only considering income, $1.90. Now, here you see more dimensions are there: assets, housing, electricity, water, sanitation, fuel, school attendance, year of schooling, child mortality, nutrition. So it's MPI, multidimensional poverty index. Now let us understand these indicators, right, in a more broader manner, right? Let us little dig these indicators. We'll be having a more understanding, right? Now, have everybody drawn this diagram? So I'm just getting it off the screen, right? If people have not drawn, just take a screenshot and draw it later, right? Simply take the screenshot of this. You can draw it later. Anyways, right, in your notebook, right, make 4 columns, right? How to make it? I'm just using the whiteboard, right? Make 4 column, right? The first column, right here, dimensions of poverty. So it is dimensions of poverty. Right, of poverty. Right, the second column, right, please write indicator. Now this would be smaller, ये छोटा सा column होगा, ये दोनों, they would be smaller column, indicators. Right, the third column, right, this would be the biggest column, right, ये सबसे widest बनाइएगा, right, conditions for treating it, conditions conditions for treating it. Right, and in bracket write deprivation. Now these are the deprivations. Here we will be seeing those deprivations. Right, and the last column, weight or weightage. This would be the smallest again, weightage. Right, now in the dimension please write, right, education, the first one, education. So here it is education. In indicator write years of schooling, years of schooling. And in deprivation please write deprived, deprived. In deprivation please write deprived if no family member has completed at least 6 years of schooling. Deprived if no family member have completed 6 years of schooling. Now people, definitely it is well understood that if a family, nobody have completed more than 6 years of schooling, for the family, how means, do you think that family would well develop, right, or a well off family? Answer is no, because if the parents themselves are not educated, वो बच्चों को कैसे पढ़ाएंगे? They will not understand the importance of education, right? Hence this one. Now education, may please write second indicator, school attendance. Yes, weightage में लिख दीजिएगा. Sorry people, I missed the weightage of the first point. Extremely sorry. Please write 1/6. 1/6 was the weightage of deprivation. This one, if no family member has completed 6 years of schooling. Now education, second indicator, please write school attendance. School attendance. In deprivation condition, please write deprived if any school age child, deprived if any school aged child is not attending school, up to class 8, up to class 8, up to class 8. Now weightage 1/6. Now people, if any child is not attending school up till class 8, it means he is not middle pass also, right? He has not completed his right, though he have completed his elementary education, primary education complete kiya, but middle education nahi complete kiya. Now definitely chances of such a child getting a job is very less, तो वो फिर poverty में ही रहेंगे. Next, child mortality. Now, sorry, write the second dimension, health. Second dimension, health. It was health. Now people, the meeting may be disconnected. Please rejoin if it get. Health. Please write the indicator name, child mortality. Child mortality. In condition, please write deprived. Deprived if any child of the family, has died in past 5 years. In past 5 years. Now people, it means this is measuring child mortality rate under the age of 5. If any child have died, it means definitely the family was poor. It could not provide the required nutrition or required level of food or medical facilities. Hence the child have died. Please write weightage. It is 1/6. It is again 1/6.